Imagine spending 12 days underground in a bunker while your country burns above you. No public appearances, no direct communication, just silence from the man who's supposed to be leading 86 million people through their darkest hour. That's exactly what happened to Iran's supreme leader, and what came next shocked everyone. On July 5th, something extraordinary happened in Tehran. For the first time since Israel launched its surprise attack on June 13th, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei emerged from hiding. The 86-year-old supreme leader hadn't been seen in public for nearly a month, the longest absence in his 3 decades of leadership. And the timing of his return? It couldn't have been more dramatic. Let me take you back to when this all started. June 13th began like any other day in Iran. But in the pre-dawn darkness, everything changed. Israeli fighter jets, over 200 of them, launched what they called Operation Rising Lion. Within hours, they'd hit 100 targets across Iran, nuclear facilities at Natanz and Fordo, military bases. And they didn't stop there. Israeli special forces and intelligence operatives assassinated some of Iran's top military commanders and nuclear scientists. The attack was devastating. But here's what made it even more shocking. Netanyahu claimed Iran was just weeks away from building a nuclear weapon. Whether that was true or not, Israel wasn't taking chances. Within hours of the first explosions, Khamenei vanished. Sources inside Iran say he was rushed to an underground bunker in Lavazan, in northeastern Tehran. His entire family went with him, including his son, Mojabta. The Revolutionary Guard Special Forces sealed off the area. No one in, no one out. Think about that for a second. The most powerful man in Iran, the guy who's supposed to be the spiritual and political leader of the nation, hiding underground while his country faced its biggest crisis since the Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s. And the war escalated fast. Iran fired back with everything they had. Over 550 ballistic missiles, and more than 1,000 explosive drones. Most were intercepted, but some got through. Israeli cities were under constant alert, sirens wailing, families rushing to bomb shelters. Then, on June 21st, things got even worse. The United States joined the fight. American bombers dropped massive bunker-busting bombs on Fordo, 30,000-pound monsters designed to penetrate deep underground. Submarines launched Tomahawk missiles at Natanz and Isfahan. Trump claimed they obliterated Iran's nuclear program, though intelligence reports later suggested it might only be set back by months, not destroyed completely. Through all of this, 12 days of airstrikes, missile barrages, and chaos, Khamenei stayed hidden. His only communications were pre-recorded video messages, no live appearances, no direct contact with his people. For a leader who'd been in power since 1989, this kind of absence was unprecedented. Reports started leaking out. Some claimed Khamenei had suffered a mental breakdown. Others said military leaders had quietly sidelined him from major decisions. A 3-member committee was reportedly already discussing succession plans. His silence was deafening, and it raised a question nobody wanted to ask out loud. Was the supreme leader still actually in charge? By the time the ceasefire came on June 25th, brokered by Trump in a dramatic late-night announcement, Iran had lost over 900 people. Key nuclear facilities were damaged or destroyed. Top military commanders and scientists were dead. The country's air defenses were in ruins. And through it all, their supreme leader remained underground. Which brings us to July 5th. The eve of Ashura, one of the holiest days in Shia Islam. It's the day Shia Muslims mourn the martyrdom of Hussein, the Prophet Muhammad's grandson, who died fighting against tyranny and oppression over 1,300 years ago. The symbolism couldn't have been more perfect for Khamenei's return. At the Imam Khomeini Husseiniya in Tehran, crowds had gathered for the religious ceremony. Then, suddenly, he appeared. The crowd erupted. "Haydar, Haydar," they chanted. "The blood in our veins for our leader." State television cameras captured every moment as the 86-year-old leader waved to his supporters. He didn't give a speech. That would have been too risky. maybe revealing too much about his state of mind or health. Instead, he whispered something to a eulogist, who then recited, "You will remain in my soul and heart, O homeland." Simple words, but loaded with meaning. His appearance lasted only minutes, but it sent a clear message: I'm alive, I'm still here. The Islamic Republic endures. But let's be real about what this means. Khamenei's reemergence doesn't erase what happened during those 12 days. Iran's nuclear program, whether you believe Trump or not, took a massive hit. Half their ballistic missile arsenal is gone. Their proxy networks across the Middle East are weakened. And perhaps most importantly, the supreme leader's absence during the crisis exposed the fragility of Iran's leadership structure. His return during Ashura was a brilliant political theater. By appearing during this holy day of mourning and resistance, Khamenei was drawing a parallel between Hussein's martyrdom and Iran's suffering. It was a way of saying, we've been bloodied, but we haven't been broken. But questions remain. The fact that an 86-year-old man spent 12 days in a bunker while his country burned raises serious concerns about succession. Those 3 potential replacements Khamenei reportedly nominated while underground? That conversation isn't going away. Iran's leadership knows they need a plan for what comes next. And there's another twist to this story. The same night Khamenei reappeared, Iran experienced a major internet blackout. 2 hours of digital darkness across the entire country. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe it was a reminder that even as the supreme leader shows his face again, the regime still fears what might happen if people can freely communicate. What happens now? Iran faces massive reconstruction costs. Their nuclear program needs rebuilding, if they choose to go down that path again. Relations with the United States remain as tense as ever, with Trump warning he might still decide to finish the job on Iran's nuclear facilities. For Khamenei, his emergence from the bunker marks a new chapter, but not necessarily a triumphant one. He returns to lead a weakened nation, facing enormous challenges both at home and abroad. The man who hid underground for 12 days now has to convince both his people and the world that he's still capable of leading Iran through what might be its most difficult period in decades. His reappearance at Ashura sent a message of continuity and resistance, but in a region where strength is everything, those 12 days of absence speak louder than any carefully choreographed religious ceremony. The supreme leader is back. But the questions about Iran's future and his own have only just begun. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.